So we're here this evening to have a frank discussion with Gary Scott, who is a local playwright, author, director, and producer, who has to this date produced 7 works that are critically acclaimed. And his latest this evening he's come to share with us is his latest book, Redefining the N-Word. How you doing, Mr. Scott?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
You, sir, were born in Harlem.
Yes, I was.
And you were raised in Brooklyn.
Yes, I was.
So just out of curiosity, what led you into a career of entertainment?
Well, I wouldn't call it entertainment. What I do is I use entertainment as a means of education. Most of the plays that I have a meaning or a moral to them. I think that's what my forte is being able to educate you and entertain you at the same time. And the reason that I got into it is because I'm a minister, and it was a means of me reaching young people.
Okay, so it's a tool.
It's a tool.
Okay, understood. The original title of your book, which is actually kind of ironic because the first chapter of your book is based off what the original title was. And can we use the N-word in this discussion based on the audiences that you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm going to take that back. All right. Well, that's interesting because I understand that you had to change, or you felt a need to change the original title of your book, which ironically happens to be the first chapter of your book now. The original title of your book, if you don't mind sharing with our audience, is
Lord, can you please help a nigga out?
Now, as controversial as that may seem, I can pretty well assume you ran into a lot of flack with the original titling of your book.
I ran into a lot of flack from both sides of the fence. It caused everyone to be uncomfortable. There was a lot of misunderstanding about the book, and I believe that a lot of people was kind of standoffish about the book because of the title, and it stopped them from reading it or even exploring it. Most of the people who criticized the book never actually read the book.
Well, now, out of the 7 works that you produced to date, a majority of the works that you create are rather edgy in their presentation, and this is obviously no different. But knowing that the title of your book would cause that kind of an uproar, what led you to using that title in the first place?
I'm a man of faith, and I believe that God wanted me to shake up everybody, to cause and force discussion, which it did. Now, I didn't sell a lot of books, but a lot of discussion was had because of the title.
And that was your goal?
And that was my goal. My goal was to force a dialogue, especially in the church, because I still believe that there's a lot of racism in the church, even though we fellowship together, but there's still still underlying racism. And I believe that God used me as a tool to force dialogue. That didn't mean it didn't hurt. That it wasn't painful. It was extremely painful.
Right.
And I believe that that's the reason that and I still stick to my guns, that the Lord told me to initially name the book, Lord, Can You Please Help a Nigga Out?
Well, I just find it kind of, to me, it just kind of smacks of a double standard, because the word is bandied about in our community so often and so freely every day that why should folks be so offended at looking at the title of your book initially? Did they even read the book?
No, they didn't read the book, and the reason that they're so offended is because the truth hurts. And you can't get any more truthful than this book and the title of the book. We dance around the issue in our community. The issue in our community is this word and our identification with it. And until we have this conversation, we're going to continue to have the same problems in our communities.
Well, let me ask you something. At what point in the creative process, when you were writing this book, did you have a feeling that you were going to be in the fight of your career?
When I first got the idea. I got the idea for the book 5 years ago. It took 3 years. It took me 3 months to write the book and 3 years to settle in my spirit to do it. I got the idea 5 years ago, and I rebuked it. I kept saying that's the devil. That ain't God. That can't be God. It's impossible to be God. And I started researching the Word and trying to figure out ways and trying to talk God out of sending me down. And God, I don't want to go. I don't want to bear this cross. But eventually, I gave in. And I did what I believed that he wanted me to do, which was to start the conversation.
I found your book to be extremely compelling. I got to the first 23 pages, made some notes, made another set of notes when I got to 53 pages, And it had gotten to the point where the flow of the narrative was so engaging that I just stopped taking notes. And I caught myself trying to take mental notes as I was going on. Okay, I need to remember that. I need to remember that. Your book is loaded full of nuggets. Not just generic wisdom, but I mean like punch in the gut type of nuggets. There's an awareness that I think comes out of your book that is sorely needed, not just in the black community, but all over the United States of America. Your book is basically a narrative that kind of skillfully hits a raw nerve in America's understanding of what that N-word is. In your mind, what does that mean to you in terms of, what was your original goal when you set out to write this book?
Well, I set out to write the book to liberate myself, because I came to the conclusion that even though I consider myself an educated man, an intelligent man, I went to school, I have a degree, I'm a writer, I was teaching young people in church, I still responded to the word nigger when I heard it. Now, using your common sense, if somebody calls out your name and your name is Bob, and they call out Billy, or they call out Larry, and your name is Bob, you ignore it. But for some reason, I couldn't. I remember when I went to school. I went to a school where there were 3,000 students, and there were 6 blacks, 3,000 whites and 6 blacks. And I lived with white gentlemen, with some white gentlemen as roommates and stuff, and we were pretty close and pretty good. But when we would go out in the public, if someone yelled out the word nigger, I would respond, and it would ruin my whole day. And I was like, how in the world could I be in this institution, being educated, and still have someone yell out a word, and it wrecked my whole day? And I finally came to the conclusion that I saw myself as one. Now, most of the people that are watching this are going to get angry with me and say that, how could you say something like that? The truth of the matter is the majority of us in America see ourselves as niggas. If we didn't, we would not laugh at Kevin Hart's jokes. Who is he talking about when he talks about niggas? He's talking about us. Otherwise, we wouldn't laugh. We wouldn't pay money to have him speak about something that we don't identify with. We identify with it. We identify with it down to the marrow of our bones. We identify with it so much that we can't get away from it. It is part of who we are. And I had to come to the conclusion that I saw myself as a nigger. And in order for me to get free, the first step to getting free is to face the truth. Truth shall set you free.
Okay, so do you think you made your point with this book?
I think I made my point. But if people have the guts to read it, they will find out.
That will be a challenge for some.
And I had a conversation with one gentleman. He asked me, he says, why in the world would you put the word nigger on the cover of the book? And I remember I had to go do a speaking engagement. And I told him because that was my Emancipation Proclamation. That was my Declaration of Independence. And he was like, why? I said, because niggas don't talk about niggas. It's something in our culture. Niggas do not talk about niggas. Niggas do not put niggas down. So the moment that I put that word on the book, I was talking about something I no longer was.
Oh.
And that is why I named the book what I named it. And if you take the time to read the book, you'll find out that's the journey that the gentleman went on in the book.
Correct.
He began the book thinking that he was a nigger, and at the end of the book realized he was not. And he was free from that word. And so by me putting the word nigger on that cover, I said, I'm not that anymore.
Right.
I'm talking about something. It's like me doing a thesis on a frog. This is no longer who I am.
Okay. All right. Well, since you started out with the book, let's get to the book. Like I said, essentially your book is a narrative. It really takes place from the perspective of 2 young black males who are the epitome of the stereotypical young black male in the community that, no education, not interested in going to school, making the quick money on the street, dealing, bouncing, whatever they can do. And I think the interesting dichotomy in the 2 of these characters is that one of them finally has an epiphany, brought about by interaction with another character. But he has an epiphany. What I thought was really interesting is that for this cat to have his best friend be the one to shoot down the light bulb moment that he had and to drag him back down into the dirt right along with him, I thought that, to me, it seemed like, he was betraying his best friend. Why would you, what was the model in your mind for choosing these two particular characters to tell the story through?
Both of them are me. Both of them, I told my son wants to be a writer, and I told him, I said, good writing comes through suffering. And when you suffer through life, you take those things and you use them as tools. Both of these guys represent a part of me. I remember there was a scene that you probably remember in the book where he was really beating his friend down when his friend was in jail. His friend had
Yes.
said, I was going to get out.
Yes.
And he told the friend, you can't get out. Everybody knows you sell drugs. Everybody knows you sling dope. What you going to do? How you going to look walking around?
Yeah, reminding him of who he is.
Reminding him of who this is who you are. You can't get out of it.
Right.
And I remember that while he was doing that, he said in his mind, I was killing him. But not only was I killing him, I was killing myself at the same time. The same words I was using to tear him down, I was tearing myself down. And then he said, forget it. I might as well kill my dreams too.
Right.
Because it's better to kill your dream than to have your dream beeping along on life support.
Exactly.
And what happens is a lot of us are afraid to step out and do what we really want to do, so we kill our dreams. So both of these characters represent part of me. One part that wants to get out and do what God wants me to do, and the other part who is so afraid that he is over there yanking out the cord of the life support system, because he would rather just kill the thing than suffer through the process of trying to gain his freedom.
So when you say that these characters were you, what part of you inhabited these characters?
Well, what part of me, as I said before, both of these characters are struggling mentally. And if we're honest with ourselves, we all do that. We have a part of us that really wants to spread its wings and do things, and we have another part of us that's scared and wants to shelter, to hide in. Right. We're moving along faster in this conversation than I thought we were going to move along. That's why we hold on to this word so dearly. Uh-huh. It is our shelter. It is our hiding place.
So it's a safe place for us.
It's a safe place for us. Because a lot of my friends are the white set. I can't understand why in the world would you guys call yourselves niggas, and why would you embrace all this stuff? Because it's a hiding place. If I fail, I can always fall back to this.
Okay.
I can always fall back to the fact that that's who I am. Remember what I said before is that we see ourselves this way. So if we see ourselves this way and we fail at going out and doing what we really want to do,
we didn't lose anything.
We didn't lose anything, as long as I hold on to this. And the other thing is a man has to have pride in something. And this generation here has taken their pride in what I call the niggerdom, this culture. And you might say, well, they don't take pride in it. Yes, they do, because they have a degree of niggerdom. Is you could be a real nigger, a fake nigger, 100% nigger.
But what makes that? Okay, so you're a 100% nigger. What makes that tangible to them?
What makes that tangible to them is the media. The media constantly puts this image in front of them, and it's something that's easy to imitate. It is real easy to become 100% nigger. You get a criminal record. Mm-hmm. You live a certain
It's a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor, and you gotta have. See, that's what I'm saying. Every man has to have something that he's good at. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. Okay. Every man has to have, and we have a segment of society right now who believes they can't be good at anything else but this, and that's why they hold on to it so dearly. Is because that's the only thing I think I'm going to be able to accomplish.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting in the book is the flow, the pace that you have in it. For at the very beginning, you know that, going back to niggerdom, that these two characters, Tony and George, they are literally the epitome of that word. Mm-hmm. And they live it. To them, it's not just a word, it's a lifestyle. It has absolutely nothing to do with the history of the word, because they're blind to it totally. Yeah. To them, it doesn't even exist.
It doesn't exist.
So my question to you is, since they use the term, literally, it's more than just an endearment. It's not like that's my nigga. It's more to it than that. And George exploits that with Tony, because when Tony gets those moments where he says, you know what, I'm better than this. I can do better than this. Tony reminds him, no, that's not who you are. This word is who you are, and that's who I am, and you're going to stay down here with me. My question to you is, you tell this story through the viewpoints of several different characters in the story. Why not just come out initially in the beginning of the book with the explanation of what the word really means and what it is? Because through Johnny Boy is the one who actually takes that word and expounds on it and lets George have it and lets him know this is what the word really means. So why wait until the end of the story to build that out? Why not establish it at the beginning?
Because I was following the greatest teacher that ever walked the face of the earth, which was Jesus Christ. And he never came out and told you anything. What he always did is he tied it to a narrative or to a parable, because he knew, just like the devil knows today, that the best way to get a message across is visually, and also with a visually and musically. If you can tie a story to a message, or laughter or a joke to a message, that message will never leave that person. Black women, black men, they all changed the definition of the word to suit the circumstances.
So it's all situational.
And it's all situational. That's why I say it's so dangerous. It's because it's all situational. Like you said, 1 minute is
it's like carrying around a little transformer in your pocket.
It's like one minute is an endearing term. The next minute, it's fighting words. So it changes, and that's why I said it must be defined. That's why we wrote the book, is redefining the N-word, so people can get a definition of what it is.
There are all of the characters in your book, almost all of them, have what I call an aha moment. They have that moment where they come to grips with, wow, this is who I thought I was. But each one comes to that realization in their own way. How do you, when you wrote this, because you would think that this would be a really complicated setup in terms of trying to write this. You're literally writing separate storylines all wrapped up in one storyline, and they're all taking place parallel at the same time. How did you manage that creatively?
Yeah,
or it just happens?
Everybody has a gift. It's a gift that I have. I'm able to juggle all the different stories. Also, I've had, like I said, I've taken it from life experiences, and I haven't always been in the church. Haven't always been,
right.
living the correct
right.
life. I've experienced drug deals and all this other stuff that has happened in the book. So I just drew from those experiences, and was able to juggle all of the characters.
Okay, I got to ask this question. What's up with White Mike?
White Mike is a very interesting character, and I'm glad you brought him up. White Mike reminded me of when I was in school, when I was in college, and because I talked to a young white girl today who bought one of the books. She wanted to buy the book, she wanted to read it, and she said because she sees some of her brothers and stuff acting like the N-word, the niggerdom, like I said, and they want to emulate that. And she said that she saw that it's crossing racial lines and that it's no longer just a black thing. So I told her, yes, she's right. It is crossing racial lines. You got Filipinos, you got Mexican people calling themselves that. The difference is with us, with White Mike, is White Mike is role-playing. And he is acting out something that he saw on TV.
So it's role reversal?
No, it's not role reversal.
It's role play.
It's role play. And let's get to make sure we get this one straight.
Okay.
This one is not role reversal. It is role play. It is the same way, like I said, back in the 70s where Jimi Hendrix was out and Jimi Hendrix was playing the guitar, and you had a lot of white guys who had naturally curly hair would grow an afro. And they would stick a pick in their hair, and they would wear the dashikis, and they would grow the goatees and stuff because they wanted to be down with the struggle and down with the civil rights movement. But some of them same white guys became lawyers and doctors when they got out of college.
And what happened?
Because when they came out of college, they stopped role playing. They were role playing at the time, and we have that now. We have a lot of young white kids riding around in suburbia, bumping music that's saying nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, but they don't see themselves as niggas. They are role playing, and when they get tired of it, or when daddy or mommy says it's time to grow up, they can toss it away.
Therein lies the difference.
Because our children cannot, because it is not something they can toss away because they believe it's their race.
So do you think that Mike's character represents a wholesale adoption of the N-word?
He represents why the N-word he represents another leg of power of the N-word.
Okay.
Okay, this is the leg of power which is going to get me in more trouble. This is the leg of power of the N-word. The N-word is one of the biggest forms of entertainment in America right now.
Sure.
It entertains people. They like it. It makes them laugh. They get to joke about it. They get to play thug. They get to play, I'm living that, I'm about that life. And they don't have to experience the danger. They don't have to worry about the drive-bys.
So they're playing it safe.
They can have all the fun, all the thrills, and all the excitement without having somebody shoot up their house. So they find it entertaining. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe me, go to the next Jay-Z concert. You won't see many black faces in there. The majority of the people in the audience are white. The majority of people in Kanye concerts are white because it is a modern day minstrel show. These guys are millionaires because of white, middle class, young white men who want the thrill of being a drug dealer in their house at the same time being safe, tucked away in suburbia, while our children are being shot in the neighborhoods. And the reason it's so hard to stop is because record companies and record executives know that it makes money, and they push it out like poison every day. And I think it is done purposely, and I think it is done deliberately because it sells stuff. And it is the best marketing tool in the world for selling sneakers, for selling clothes, for selling name brands. Our communities have become the biggest consumers on the planet. All we do is consume. We produce jack. We just consume. And as long as they keep pushing this stuff out, they can sell all of these sneakers and they can sell all these shoes. So I think it is a deliberate brainwashing of a segment of society, all for the sake of entertainment and making money.
So then what's the most effective way to combat that?
Education. The problem is most people don't want to be educated. Most people they're comfortable where they are and they don't want to be educated. That's why it's a hard road to hold.
Fat, dumb, and happy.
And you have to you're skating up a mountain full of ice. Go.
I got you.
It's very hard, but it's education, and it starts with stuff like what we're doing right now by having these dialogues and by letting these young people hear it. I think once they hear it, just like I haven't had one single young person who has read that book who has not come away and said, it changed my life. I have not had one who said, it was all right.
Wow.
They always said, wow, that was deep. Man, wow, I didn't know that. I had one young guy cry. I had one young guy who...
After reading it,
he cried. Told me it made him cry. Told me it made him change his life, the way he saw himself. It changes... one guy, it changed his perspective about school, about what he wanted to do in school. Because what I love about the book is I don't even tell them who to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you read the book,
yes.
I don't tell them who to be.
Correct.
I tell them to be whoever they want to be,
right.
But just embrace their freedom.
Right. Whatever is in you.
Whatever's in you.
Right.
Whatever's in you, embrace that. Don't let somebody else tell you what to be. One question before we finish this is this. I want to make sure it gets in this interview, is that the reason that we still have this problem is for two reasons. One, there's still racism in America. I know that we have an African American president, but there's still racism in America. Mm-hmm. There's still racism in the church. I had spoke to brothers before, and I told them that if you're my brother, or they constantly talk about black on black crime or crime in the black neighborhoods or crime or your black young youth killing each other. We should be appalled at the fact that youth killing each other, period, whether they're black or they're white, but we're not. Right. We keep qualifying it because we still have a distinction between the two of them. The other thing is, we still, as African Americans, have not reached the point where we find value in our own lives. And this is going to get me in a lot of trouble. Okay? When we have a white person kill a black person, it is all over the news. It is all over Facebook.
Correct.
And it is assumed that it's a hate crime, which it might be. We don't know. We don't know what the person's intent was. We can't get in his head, so we don't know. It could have been, I'm killing this person because he's black, but we don't know. But we don't know that for sure. But we assume that, but we rally and we get together and we march and we protest and we do everything that we can.
But then what about when we kill ourselves?
When a black person kills a black person, they don't even blink an eye. We don't even care. A death is a death. Why is a death more important when a white person is perpetrating it on us than we perpetrate it on ourselves? Because we have more respect and we have more concern about what white America thinks about us than we do about what we think about ourselves. And that's why we're sparked by anything that's still done on that side of the fence. When it's done on that side of the fence, it raises something up in us because we still are looking for that approval.
Correct.
I want you to think about what I'm saying. We're still looking for a death is a death. If a 16-year-old gets killed, a 16-year-old gets killed. The reason that we're so appalled that a white person kills us is because we still want them to like us. And if they don't like us, then we, for some reason, we're not fulfilled. Because a death is a death. What difference does it make who pulled that trigger? The difference is they still don't like us. And something inside of us hurts real bad because they don't like us. And we will not be satisfied until we get y'all to like us. And we don't like ourselves enough to stop from killing each other.
You heard it. I told you. Frank conversation with Gary Scott, local playwright, author, director, producer, and this is his latest project, Redefining the N-Word.